When the phone rang at midnight and the Coast Guard asked why my boat, the Lucky Escape, was drifting 5 miles off the coast packed with drunk partiers. You want to talk about feeling like you're dreaming? I'm half out of my mind from jet lag, just got off a brutal work trip in Seattle thinking, is this some kind of prank? I sit up rubbing my eyes, still in yesterday's clothes, and the officer's dead serious telling me my boat's just been boarded. No life vests, illegal booze, nobody with a license, sir. We need you at the marina now. And suddenly my heart is going off like a jackhammer. That boat is my pride and joy. I lock it. I baby it. The dock's got a security gate. Nobody should have been anywhere near it. I race down there, probably broke every speed limit in the book, and when I get to the marina, it's lit up with red and blue lights, officers all over strangers in cocktail dresses and wrinkled polos looking guilty as hell. That's when I see her arms folded, platinum hair backlit by the deck lights like some bad omen out of a noir film. Olivia Cartwright, the HOA president, queen of the Windward Palms, a woman who thinks no trespassing signs are just polite suggestions. I walk right up and say, that's my boat. Frederick Taylor. Not a soul had my permission. Officer looks at me then over at Olivia, who's busy pretending she's never seen me before in her life. They claim the HOA can use any dock for events, he says. I about choke. That's just flat-out nonsense. My slip, my deed not shared. Olivia finally sachets over, full of fake concerns, saying the clubhouse isn't finished. My boat was the most presentable option, and technically the HOA has access rights. I just start laughing. That dock isn't shared. She fires back, maybe it should be. She tries to paint me as the unreasonable one for not wanting my property broken into and turned into a floating frat house. At this point, the officers are losing patience. Olivia's starting to look a little pale. Coast Guard whispers something to the lead, and suddenly I've got a choice: press charges or let it go. One look at Olivia, her eyes darting around, and I tell them I'm pressing every charge I can think of. I'm not stopping at just one. By sunrise, I'd filed a police report for grand theft, called a maritime lawyer, and handed over every second of footage from the motion cam I installed months ago. Clear as day, Olivia, using a master key, waving in caterers like she owns the place. Even better, she's slipping envelopes to Douglas, the HOA treasurer. This isn't just trespassing, it's a whole criminal episode. Detective Clean meets me later. Sharp no-nonsense tells me straight up the dock's mine. Olivia's out of bounds, and what I've got is enough for charges: unlawful entry, property misuse, maybe even insurance fraud because they tried to cover up the damage. Turns out my security system was powered off from inside the cabin, deliberate. Cabinet wrecked, wine everywhere, helm screen cracked. Clean tells me if anyone files repairs with insurance without disclosing the crime, that's fraud. I just try to keep my cool, ask what now? She's serving a warrant on the HOA office. This was coordinated, not some random party. When I get home, my neighbor Linda, who's always been more polite than friendly, flags me down, says she overheard Olivia planning to borrow my boat for community use, figured no one would care. She offers to tell the detective. Right after Olivia's Lieutenant Janice creeps by in her HOA-branded Nissan, doing her best intimidation drive-by. Cute, right? I dig into the bylaws. Appendix D, Section 9. No board member can use private property for community events without written consent. Violation means instant removal pending a vote. I gather signatures for a special meeting. Half the neighborhood jumps at the chance. Most people put up with Olivia for the landscaping and coffee pods, but after this, they're out for blood. By the time the meeting rolls around, the place is packed. Douglas is sweating through his shirt. I lay out the evidence, emails, footage, the whole mess. One guy shouts, "She used our dues for this." I call for a vote, overwhelmingly in favor of removing Olivia. Ruth, the secretary, makes it official. Olivia is out pending criminal proceedings. The whole room erupts. I walk out into the night air, not celebrating, but feeling something shift, justice cracking through finally. And here's the twist nobody saw coming. 2 days later, Homeland Security calls me in. Now I'm really thinking, what the hell? Agent Mendoza lays out a folder, says the HOA and Olivia showed up in a fraud investigation. Turns out 2 of the guests at the boat party are aliases connected to interstate wire fraud. Olivia's been laundering money through a shell nonprofit Windward Coastal Enrichment Fund using fake community initiatives and inflated contracts. I just sit there stunned. Mendoza explains the party was a cover for meeting out-of-state buyers, possibly for illegal property sales with forged deeds. They chose my boat because they thought there was no surveillance. Joke's on them. Douglas tried to run to Panama Janice, and another board member subpoenaed Olivia on the run using a fake passport. They've siphoned almost $3 million over 6 years, kept folks quiet with small improvements and strict rules so no one looked too close until they messed with the wrong boat. News breaks, wide open, federal complaint incoming. HOA bank accounts frozen, fraudulent contractors blacklisted, and a forensic accountant brought in. HOA placed under court conservatorship. My boat's in dry dock, the damage almost comical, a champagne cooler drilled into the hull, plastic cups clogging the pipes. I pay out of pocket knowing I'll get it back, but what matters is that people like Olivia finally hit a wall. Couple days later, Mendoza calls Olivia's been caught in Grenada trying to board a yacht with her notary and another fake deed guy. She's coming back to face the music. The next neighborhood meeting's under new management folding chairs, no catering, just real talk. Mr. Roth, the retired firefighter, starts a committee, tells me I should join. This isn't about paperwork, it's about getting our neighborhood back. I look around, these are folks who've been lied to, bullied, written up for garbage cans and flags, and now they're ready to rebuild. Then it's grand jury time. The prosecutor, Duvall, is relentless. Did you ever hear of the Shell nonprofit? Nope. Did you give permission for your boat? Absolutely not. The evidence piles up, fake grants, forged signatures. Linda testifying about the board's contractor scams, a former assistant admitting she was told to fake meeting minutes. Then they play an audio recording of Olivia coaching the board to tie up lawsuits until people quit. The judge has had it. By the end, all assets are frozen, plea deals revoked, and the HOA is dissolved by court order. A restitution fund is set up. The state issues new oversight rules for every residential association along the coast. My boat's repairs are covered, but the real win is bigger. No more HOA empires, no more unchecked power trips. Windward Palms is a neighborhood again. Weeks later, we have an actual neighborhood BBQ. No speeches, just ribs, lemon bars, and barefoot kids chasing each other on the grass. I walk down to the dock, step aboard the Lucky Escape. She's spotless, stronger than ever. I sit behind the wheel, engine off, just breathing in the clean air, feeling for the first time in years like I'm not just fighting to keep what's mine, but finally maybe part of something worth protecting again. So yeah, justice showed up late, but it showed up. Now I gotta ask, where do you draw the line between neighborly cooperation and letting power go unchecked? Would you have pressed charges or tried to keep the peace? Drop your thoughts below. Because in neighborhoods like mine, the next story is always just around the corner.